Just up a unison at the Guy Bevan House, getting the NHS work. Please come in the NHS.
What got you involved with the party?
The truth that they offer, a plain speaking, honest politician who's been honest to us for years, and the mainstream media and other parties have lied about him. Should have been Prime Minister many years ago. Time to get him on in the right spot now. Yeah.
What do you think of Labour these days?
Excretia? Sorry?
What did you think of Labour these days, the Labour Party?
They're excretia.
Oh, yeah. And
filthy, corrupt, they've sold us out completely, they're constantly lying to us, and it's time for them to go. They belong in the gutter. Yeah.
How do you rate Galloway's chances in this by-election?
If I've got anything to do with it, 100%.
100%. That's impressive considering this is a by-election. People are expecting there still to be like favourites and whatnot. Do you think they can beat Labour?
Yeah.
100%. And if you had one message for the electorate ahead of the polling day on at the end of February, what would it be?
Don't vote for liars, vote for George Galloway.
What's brought you to the launch today?
The people of Gaza.
What specifically about what's going on in Gaza has brought you out?
We have to stop the genocide. It's pure and simple.
Yeah.
It's clear to see. Even the guide dogs of the blind know it's a genocide, and nobody else in politics is making that connection. And we need to stop. We need to make it stop. This is a humanitarian cause. It's not about Muslims, it's not about Jews, it's not about anything else. It's a purely humanitarian crisis, and it needs to stop.
With regards to the way Labour has been approaching this crisis, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. From a party that's I voted for most of my life. Most of my life I voted for that party. And for them to turn around and disown the Gazan people, the Palestinians, at their greatest time of need is beyond words. It simply is.
Do you think there is a place these days for Muslims in the Labour Party?
I question that. I really do question that now.
So what is it specifically about George that you think is going to allow him to take on this issue in a way no other politician has so far?
Well, he's one of the few people with integrity in politics for the past 50 years. People that focus on what they believe in, what their causes are. I don't believe I've ever heard him say anything wrong. It's your perspective. You know, you can disagree with him, but I don't think I've ever come across anything that he said that's been wrong from my perspective. And, you know, we need to have our voices raised. And the people of Gaza need to have their voices raised.
If you had one message for the people of Rochdale, any advice for the upcoming election, what would it be?
Make history. Make history. Vote for the Gazan people because they can't vote for themselves.
What's brought you to the launch today?
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
What's brought you to the launch today?
Well, I've been an admirer of George Galloway Galloway for quite a long time. I've been to his previous launch in Gorton many years ago. I interviewed him once for this independent paper that I was working for called The Word, and I think he's a politician of huge integrity and one of the few around. Also, he is magnificently articulate and honest in an era where politicians never speak their own mind, never speak their own opinions anymore. They just like bought corporate interests. He's a very humanitarian man, and I really hope that he wins, because I'm not sure what huge change he would make in the ocean of political dereliction we're in, but I think a glimmer of hope, he would represent that.
How do you rate his chances in the upcoming election?
I'm not sure if he's got very great chances, but I haven't followed the situation. It could be that I'm wrong.
Yeah. And if there was one thing that you think that the people here in Rochdale should be voting on, what is it, in your opinion?
I have no connection to Rochdale. I'm not familiar with the place. But I see that it's a large Muslim community, and there are people who generally care much more about the real issues like war, Palestine. He's very good on that. If they vote for him on account of that, that's a very good thing. I don't know what proportion of people will go to vote, though. But good luck to him.
What got me bothered about it? Many things. Have you seen the 10-point programme? That's a starter. I really am convinced about it all altogether. That's what I want to see. That's the kind of world I'm looking for.
What was your favourite part of the 10-point programme?
I don't think I have a favourite, because all of them suit me. Suit what I want for my kids, my grandkids, and for the future of everybody.
Well, how do you rate the candidate for Rochdale here today, the Federal Workers' Party? Or do you think he has a good chance of winning?
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm never one to count the chickens, as they used to say. That's not my style. But with a good push, it can be done. I do believe Labour are not liked in this town.
And with regards to, what was I going to say? I feel like I've lost my trail of thought now. Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think Labour, what do you think of Labour for this constituency? Do you think there's much chance of them getting in? Do you think that's a good idea in general?
Well, it's traditionally a Labour town, so that they've got that going for them, but I think people are now fed up with what Labour are doing. They've let the people down on Gaza, they've let the people down on the NHS, or they're going to do, especially with this guy, West Street.
Good evening, and thank you very much for all of you coming. There's a lot of familiar faces here and a lot of new ones too. Just a couple of pieces of housekeeping. Can we please put our phones on silent, but do plenty of recording. We need to make a noise about this. We have a fire exit which is just through that office there, and the sliding doors are unlocked too. I'm not going to do any kind of speech because I know who you're here to listen to. So, who do we need for Rochdale? Galloway! Who do we need for Rochdale? Galloway! Who do we need for Rochdale? Galloway! Who do we need for Gaza? Galloway! Who do we need for Gaza? Galloway! Who do we need for Gaza? Galloway! Let me welcome George.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished elders, scholars, councillor, maybe councillors, who knows, certainly some future councillors. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm overwhelmed by the turnout here on this inclement evening for the official launch of our campaign to capture Rochdale in the by-election on the 29th of February. My good wife Gayatri is behind me, my eldest son, Zane, who lives in Manchester, is at the top of the stairs. I tried to persuade him to come and give a speech, but he's not quite ready to take my place. I'm overwhelmed by the generosity of my good friend Imtiaz and his family, all of his brothers, all of his sister-in-laws, all of whose children have made this place and the place next door, where I'm going to ask you to go at the end of this meeting, available to us, indeed handed it over to us. The most auspicious campaign headquarters I've ever had in more than 50 years of politics and fighting elections. I'm overwhelmed by the warmth of the Rochdalian welcome that I receive as soon as I step foot outside that door. It takes me quite some time to get down even the smallest street. Now, I know that none of you would ever darken the doors of a bookmaker's. But if I tell you that the bookies had me at 16-1 to win this seat on Friday, and by Tuesday evening it's 2-1, you can be sure that if you have any friends, if you have any foolish friends that go into bookmakers, they've lost their opportunity. 2-1 isn't much of a price, but it is indicative of three things that I want to address you on this evening. His Excellency Peter Ford, former British Ambassador, I welcome and greet you. You're a great asset to us as the Deputy Leader of our party. The three things are this, and they are obvious. All the press in the press conference asked me this obvious question: why are you here? Well, the obvious answer is because I'm a political leader and there's a by-election. And it's my job to take our political message everywhere in the country. And obviously this is an opportunity to do that. Tony Lloyd was a friend of mine for 40 years. I'm very sorry indeed that he has passed, and passed so very quickly. But of course, after the demise of a Member of Parliament, there has to be a by-election. The people need to be represented. Amjad Bhai, former Member of the European Parliament, also I greet you. The by-election was not chosen by me, but I have a duty and a responsibility to give voice to the thousands, I believe tens of thousands of people who want to have their say on what's happening in Gaza. I have been fighting the Palestinian cause for more than 50 years. That is the entire lifetime of at least half, maybe 3/4 of the people in this hall. The entire lifetime. I first went to see the Palestinians in the refugee camps in Beirut in 1977, in a brief pause in the Lebanese civil war. I met the late President Arafat. He took a liking to me. When everyone else left, I decided to stay. And I was there for many months, living in two camps that later became famous for the worst possible reason. The two camps were Sabra and Shatila, which in 1982, while I was in Beirut, were invaded, and yet another massacre of Palestinian refugees took place. We boycott Starbucks Why shouldn't we boycott Labour? They're all supporting genocide in Gaza. How would it look? How would it look to your children, your grandchildren? Me, Saddam's friend. And people said to me, why didn't you keep your opposition to Tony Blair and the Iraq war down a bit? Turn the gas down a bit on it. And if you do, if I had, I might still be a Labour MP. I might have been on the front bench. But I could not do so because I was, perhaps uniquely, the only Member of Parliament who knew for certain that they were lying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. And knowing that, how could I do any other than call Blair the liar everyone now knows him to be? Worked by Tony Blair, Peter Mandelson, Alistair Campbell, all these war criminals are right at the centre of Keir Starmer's Labour Party. And who would want to give them a victory when we could do something about it? By the way, there's some kismet involved here. I won the Bradford West by-election on the 29th of the month. Well, thank you. I see many friends actually from that campaign, and I'm glad to see them. This campaign is also on the 29th. But here's the ace card. There are 29,000 Muslim voters in Rochdale. If they all come out and all vote for me, we'll have the biggest landslide by-election victory that anyone has ever had in British politics. But of course they can't amongst the Muslim population. But I'm also white, British and working class and the leader of the Workers' Party. Some of them think I'm brown. Somebody asked me, why do some white people not like you? I said, for the same reason they don't like you. They think I'm you. But we'll be out amongst the white working class people in Rochdale and saying the reasons why Rochdale has slipped down every division, every table, has been relegated over and over again, is not because of Abdul, who runs the store on the corner, or Amjad, who has a car showroom. It's Labour that has put you here. It's the Labour Council and its mismanagement, corruption and incompetence that is the reason why Rochdale is in the place that it is. And isn't the football club's fortunes a metaphor for the town? Rochdale FC, one of the supporters is here. They were a fixture of the Football League. They were in the top divisions of the Football League for 100 years. And now they're not even in the league.
Up the Dale!
Yes, up the Dale. I'll tell you what, if it's for sale, I know some people that I can put together in a consortium to try and buy it. And let's lift Rochdale Football Club up the table also. But the metaphor is an obvious one. Relegation, relegation, relegation into the basement. How did that happen? They got a dodgy planning permission from a group of other Labour councillors. How's that? How's that? Boycott Labour. That is the hashtag. Boycott Labour. Both nationally and locally. Because they're not fit for purpose. And we've got to wipe the town hall clock clean. If we win this on the 29th, we've got to take that momentum forward to make a complete change here in the town of Rochdale. And I believe that we can do it. Of course, not every councillor is a rogue, are they? Not every councillor is a rogue, but I see some of them.
A lot of them.
I see some of them are out campaigning for genocide Labour against me. I saw one of them on a video last night defending Keir Starmer.
Put them on the list.
Yeah, defending Keir Starmer's calling for a ceasefire, he said. Which isn't even true, but the fact that I was watching a Muslim councillor here in Rochdale claiming that to youths who were furious with him was indeed a shame.
George, the youths are there. Pick them up.
There's the youths. Is that the youths? Bravo. The heroes. That's the lads that confronted Labour last night. The future, yes. A launch like this. And insofar as they've got anyone at all, in any numbers, they're being brought in from Oldham, I'm sorry to say, and other places. We say at 1 o'clock. That's this Sunday, 1 o'clock, outside the town hall. I just wanted to make one other startling point, if I may. I found to my astonishment that the only way you can be born in Rochdale is if you're unlucky enough to give birth in the taxi on the way to Oldham. Rochdale has been relegated so much that actually nobody will ever again be able to say they were born in Rochdale. Actually, yeah. I mean, talk about ethnic cleansing. There'll be no more Rochdalians. Maybe that's the plan. But we will not put up with it. I give you this pledge, that I will not give them one moment's peace until we have restored maternity services here in Rochdale and the A&E also. And the A&E also. Listen, Mahallah, if you fell down and broke your head in the centre of Rochdale, you'd have to count on an ambulance reaching you and taking you to Oldham for emergency treatment. What kind of fate is that for a town that was once proud? I met a man last night, I'll not give his name, he might not want me to, so I won't take a chance. He used to be proud to tell people he was from Rochdale. Now he says he's from Manchester. Because of the way that Rochdale has been allowed to decline. Now, nobody asked me tonight a question, but I'm going to raise it. I'm expecting, indeed there's a candidate standing precisely on this question. I'm expecting the grooming story to be a feature in this by-election. By the grace of God, I have 6 children, 5 of them young children. And my oldest child has 5 children. There's a lot of us. We'll be around for a long time, inshallah.
You said you wasn't brown.
Listen, the culture I come from, if you don't have 6 children, people think there's something wrong with you.
Sit that box, George.
So nobody more than me finds grooming and paedophilia and sexual abuse of children and young people more repugnant. Nobody hates that more than me. But it has nothing to do with the colour of the face of the person who committed it. Nothing at all. They do these things because of the blackness of their hearts, blackened by depravity. No, the colour of their face. That well-known Asian Muslim, Sir Cyril Smith, was one of the earliest groomers. The Reverend Paul Flowers, formerly of this parish, was not a Muslim. Jimmy Savile wasn't an Asian. Most of these sordid offences committed in Britain are committed by people who look like me, not people like most of you. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the colour of the face, still less the religion of Islam. And I will be your defender against Islamophobia, against racism, against bigotry, discrimination, and you know that. You know that I will be, and you know that I can do it. MashaAllah, I have a voice that's heard, that nobody can ignore, and I'm ready to use it for you. I'm like Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm coming to the end of my political career. Coming towards the end, like Cristiano. But I can still score goals, I promise you. Thank you very much indeed for coming here this evening. Victory on the 29th. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
I understand you've come today to George Galloway's campaign launch. What brings you here today?
Well, what brings me here, 2 weeks ago I resigned from the Labour Party and I went independent. I've been asked to stand as the parliamentary candidate for Dewsbury and Batley, so hopefully I'll be representing the Workers' Party in Dewsbury and Batley at the next general election. I've also on Saturday in London at the Million March protest, I challenged Keir Starmer to a contest in Dewsbury and Batley. And I'm still waiting on a reply, Mr. Starmer. I'm waiting, and so's the battleground in Batley and Dewsbury. Come, let's go.